Hey, so hello everyone.
Hello.
This is Dominatrix. I am Angel.
Of course, I'm Dominique.
And we have Kim with us, who is a women's health coach, correct?
Yes, I say women's sexual health because
Oh, okay.
all the work that I do is around our sexual health, from our sexual energy to our sexual reproductive hormones.
Okay. And where are you located?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale. Just moved here from Los Angeles.
Oh, how are you liking it?
So far, I'm loving it. It feels like I'm on vacation every day.
I know, right? I mean, both of them were probably really, really nice destinations. Right? I need to get to both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, kind of, what do you do? Like, if someone wants to come and see you, would you do like a workup, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so I mean, I do a lot of online work. You don't even need to come see me in person. Yeah, so a lot of it is just like online, but with that, I do calls. Like, we're on a call right now, right? And depending on what is going on, like even though my program is called Woman Awakening, and I use the Power Method, so it's like a 5-pillar method. I still tailor it to the individual's needs. So it's a combination of nutrition. I say right size your exercise. And those two components, nutrition and exercise, I call them your superficial layers. Like, especially when it comes to hormone health, like it's kind of the obvious that this is something that needs to be addressed. But then, like, let's go a little deeper and really connect to your emotional health, your mental health. And with that, it's stress management and lifestyle changes. And I'm also a yoga therapist as well, actually. So different breath work techniques. And sometimes I do incorporate like a little personal yoga practice for my client, whether, if they're having really bad menstrual cramps or certain poses that could help with that, right? So I may incorporate a little bit of that. And then let's take it even a step deeper and just working through some of that inner child work, past trauma experiences, whether it was in your teenage years or early childhood. But we don't realize how how much these experiences could actually impact us as women as we get into our adult lives, whether it's having difficulty with fertility or experiencing pleasure during sex. So these things could actually impact us. So depending what's going on, those are the different layers that I look at it. So I say physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritual.
Got you. Okay. I need to make it a
See you. It is like a vacation.
Yeah. I mean, because I know our hormones has a lot to do with like our moods and even like our sex drive at times. With us, like certain times of the month you feel bloated, you don't really feel like the best you know what I mean? So it's like it's hard to sometimes communicate that to your partner, like I don't know, like I feel like it's hard for me to communicate that. So like, is it way like so? Would you help with like to kind of help regulate those things?
Yeah. And I actually, I just before Christmas, I self-published a book to like help women understand their cycles. And when I published it, I was so honored. I was actually on 4 podcasts, all hosted by men. So I educate men on this too. So
Oh,
ladies, I'm out
okay.
there supporting you. But no, it's like
Yes.
it's a huge thing, and I cannot stress this enough. Us women, we aren't linear like men. We're not meant to be in the same mood every single day. Our hormones fluctuate throughout our cycle. So with that, yes, our mood's going to be different. One day we're going to be having a lot of energy. Another day we might be a little more emotional. Another day we just might want to be by ourselves. And with that, yes, of course, our sex drive, right?
Right.
So I can even just explain a little bit and how it works. So our cycle is 365 days of the year. That's every single day. It's not just when we're bleeding. And day 1 of our bleed is day 1 of our cycle. So that's our menstrual phase. And that is when our hormones are at its lowest. Estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, it's at our lowest. So if you are feeling like you don't have a lot of energy, it's to be expected because your hormones are your lowest. So you're actually meant to be more inward during that time. Take time to nurture yourself, really honor your body. Take that hot bath. Don't be like that last minute person to cancel, but like kind of but that's why it's important to kind of get used or get in tune with your cycle, because then you'll just know not to overbook yourself during that time. So you can honor that, right? And and with that too, yeah, you might not have much of a sex drive, and it's because your hormones are down. With that, I do say some women, and I am one of those women, I actually have a big sex drive during that time of the month. And what plays into that is because just as our cycle's coming, we get a little bit more inflammation. I don't want to say inflammation, that's the wrong word. We have a little more swelling, pressure in that area in our uterus, which could press on our G-spot, which could increase our sex drive. Yeah. But if you don't have much of a sex drive, then yeah, you just gotta communicate with your partner, like, babe, I'm on this time of the month. I'm just not feeling it. It's nothing against you. Right. It's just where I am right now, right? Mm-hmm. And then as we move through our menstrual phase and we move into follicular phase, which is around day 6 or 7. And at that time, it's like moving from winter to spring. So we're beginning to wake up. You may feel like the energy is increasing, having a little bit more energy. So this is where you might start to put more things on your schedule. Also, it's a good time to try something new. If you wanted to check out like a new fitness class, or I always say if you're like a mom and you want to try a new routine with the kids, this is a perfect time because you're going to have more patience and you are more outward thinking. So this is a great time for that. And then from there, we move into ovulation, which, a lot of women do like this time of their cycle because you feel like the sex queen and you're super confident, right? You have a lot of energy. Yeah, right. You look at yourself and you're like, damn, I look hot today, right? Yeah. And your skin's glowing, but that has to do with the high level of estrogen. Yeah. And testosterone brings your sex drive up, and it's also a good time, like if you are a businesswoman, pitch that business deal, have your presentation, host your workshop. We're more in our outward energy. So, and also like if you plan your sexy hot date with your partner, and maybe a girls' night or something, like we're just more social during that time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then our luteal phase is a little bit of a longer phase. The first half of it, you still will feel like you have that energy of ovulation. But as you get into the second half, that's when that moodiness may start to creep in, and the sugar cravings and maybe some of the bloating. And for a lot of women, it's like not their favorite time. And this is something else I really want to stress. Like PMS, yes, it's common. I think like 80% of women experience it, but it's not normal. Even though the doctors are like, take a pill, and society like kind of makes it sound like it's a normal thing. It's not normal. It's our body talking to us. So these symptoms could come on for various reasons. This is one thing I'd love to say is like, if you are experiencing like a lot of moodiness, anxiety, just like you could be raging one day. Yes, your hormones can be playing into that. Are you pointing over there?
You. I just like to be by myself around those times because I am like a raging bitch.
Yeah, and you know what? Because our hormones are going down, that is a time that we actually are meant to go back inward. So like keep your schedule open a little bit so that you could honor that. And it's a good time to reflect. So it's like the time that we're like the bullshit detector. So just really tapping into, are you really honoring where you are? Are you living like your full truth? Is there something you're not expressing to somebody? Is there some way that you're not living up to your own truth and desires? And when we're not, that's when that like irritability starts to creep in.
Now it's making sense.
That's really crazy because I was just telling like my partner the other day, like I know when I'm not like the best of like when I'm not the best, like I can't like I don't even want to be around, like I don't even want to talk to you, I don't want to be around it because I don't even want to be that person because I know a couple days later I'll be apologizing like I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I don't know, I be in a horrible mood all the time and I will just go off at like the slightest thing.
So are you open to a little suggestion?
Yes, please.
So whatever you're feeling during that time, journal it. Like if you're irritable at someone, journal what you're feeling and see what comes up of why you're feeling that way. And if you need to have a conversation, and because, you know, there is something that needs to be said, wait till after your bleed. Really bleed on it and just like think like, okay, like is this like what needs to change, what needs to be said? And once you come out of your bleed, then have the conversation, because you're thinking more outward at that point, and you're going to be more calm in the conversation, and you'll just notice the words are going to come out better instead of just like emotional.
You are so right. It's crazy how you say, I mean, because I was kind of already doing that, because I feel like that's when I'm normal. Like, okay, I was crazy the other couple of weeks, and I'm sorry. Like, it be so weird, and I just feel like I feel like I don't want to keep taking them to this little emotional roller coaster, but like, but you're right. So okay, journal it and just try to just keep my mouth shut. That's what I can work on.
It's hard in the moment, but give it a try, and I'd love to see like what comes out of it.
Okay, I will definitely.
Send me a message.
I sure will.
I have a question, Kim. So how long after our bleeding cycle do we ovulate?
So can you repeat that? How long after our bleed? What?
Like our bleeding cycle, do we ovulate? So is it like a week after, or is it days after?
So that's a really good question. So I'll say a normal cycle is generally between 26 to 34 days. So like, you know, it doesn't have to be the perfect 28 days. And if you're consistently less than 26 or consistently more than 34, I definitely would say look into it, because that's like a good indication that there could be a hormone imbalance. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, our bleed is anywhere generally between 1 to 7 days. I'd say on average, most women are around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Ovulation is around days 13 to 16. Generally speaking as well. And this is what I'm saying. This is general stuff, and why it's very important to get in tune with your own cycle, because I do have a close dear friend who was trying to get pregnant, and she didn't like having sex on her period, and she was missing her ovulation window. She was actually ovulating on day 9.
Oh.
And so you know, our, like, us women, we're only fertile 1 day out of the month.
Right. But it's a small window.
Yeah, we got 1 day, but listen to the but. The male sperm could last in us for up to 5 days.
Yeah.
So you could have sex while on your period. If you're the woman that bleeds, you know, to day 7, and you have sex on day 7, and then you ovulate on day 12, you could still get pregnant.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So that's why it's really important to just kind of get in touch with your cycle. So a great way to know is that, like, you could check your temperature every morning. You could check your temperature, and your temperature will go up, very minimal, but during ovulation. But another good way that's super simple, and I know some women might be grossed out by this, but by your cervical mucus. So during ovulation, it like will come out. One of my friends I know this sounds kind of gross. One of my friends is like, it looks like boogers.
Yeah.
Because it's so sticky, right? Yeah, and but that is the cervical mucus, and that's what kind of brings the sperm into us. So when you notice that like sticky type of discharge, nothing's wrong with you. It's like clear, kind of looks like egg whitish. That's an indication that you're ovulating.
Oh, yeah.
So do you cramp during ovulation?
Some women say they can feel it.
Yeah.
Do I cramp?
Or like, can women cramp like during?
Yeah. Some women may experience that. If you are having cramps around ovulation, that could be a sign that you're like already our estrogen is higher at that point. It's at our peak, but it may be kind of its even a little higher than what would be normal. And that could cause some of the cramps. And the reason being with that is you hear about it often. That's what causes PMS in a lot of cases too, higher estrogen compared to progesterone. And during PMS, our progesterone should actually, during our luteal phase, our progesterone should be actually higher. But estrogen is good for us, but in too much of it, which is like in our foods, it's in our products. I'm actually about to do a detox challenge, so I'm putting together a whole bunch of content in regards to this. But too much estrogen could actually cause inflammation in our body. And over time, especially like if, say if you're not going to the bathroom regular, yes, ladies, we need to poop every day. I'm gonna, talk like that. But if not, like that estrogen could get basically recycled in our body, and over time, it could lead to things like cancers, like breast cancer. That's usually from lots of estrogen. Women that have endometriosis, fibroids, it is connected to higher levels. There's other factors too, but it is connected to higher estrogen. So if you do have higher estrogen levels, you might experience some cramping during your ovulation, and then it could carry into your luteal phase, which is right before your bleed.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I don't know if I cramp during ovulation, but I definitely cramp like days before my cycle. And it tells me, oh, it's about to come. Like it'll be like a day or two, I'll start feeling a little cramp come.
And you know what? Like a little discomfort or a little cramping is okay. Yeah. But it's like when it's like preventing you from like wanting to go out, or like you're calling in from work, stuff like that. So like when it's really intense, but like a mild like just discomfort, that like, okay, it's coming, because like we naturally do get, like I said, a little bit more swelling in that area in our uterus at that time. So you feel it, but it shouldn't be like impacting your day-to-day life.
So does exercise help with all of that, or?
So what I say is right size your exercise. It can help, yes.
Okay.
So during your luteal phase, which is right before your bleed, not doing high intensity. So not like your HIIT training, your boot camps. What else? Like Soul Cycle, like when you're pumping your arms and like riding that bike, like tone it down a little. Some just strength training, like just lifting weights. That's good. Maybe, and if you are starting to feel like that energy is dropping, like a yoga class or Pilates class, that's great. And the beautiful thing about like a yoga and Pilates class is it's gentle movement, but you're also like really connecting to your breath and your body. And that could be very relaxing, especially, in a very like a hatha style yoga class or a yin yoga class. Like it's more breath work. So you're kind of going into that relaxation state. So that could be beneficial. And even just going out for a hike or being out in nature is really good for us women. When you're out in the sun, wearing something that doesn't get talked about too often is just getting 20 minutes of natural sunlight every day. Taking your sunglasses off and just getting direct sunlight is really good for us to help regulate our circadian rhythm, which our sleep patterns are very important for hormone health. And getting that direct sunlight helps us produce melatonin. So then at night we'll go to bed a little better.
Oh, wow. So that could be, because my sleep pattern is so long because I work 2 jobs. So I come home and I nap. And then I wake up, I go to work, and then I come home and I sleep for a couple more hours, and I do it all over again.
Do you work in the evenings? You work more of a night shift?
Yeah. I work 2 different jobs, so it's like I got an 8 to 5, and then I work 10:30 to 2:30.
10:30 till 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. I know.
That is a challenge. That is a challenge because. That's like prime sleeping time.
I know. So like I come home and I cook or I do what I have to do, and I try to sleep between 7 and 9, like 9:30. But sometimes I don't make it. And then I wake up, I go to work, do the 10 to 2:30, and then I come home and I'm depending on, because sometimes they can keep us to 3:30. But sometimes I come home at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm waking up at 6 just to do it all over again. So that could be another reason why I'm always so irritable.
It could be impacting it a little bit, but yeah, I would say just to like help with that. I mean, I know that is a bit of a challenge, but yeah, in between jobs, if you could get outside, get some direct sunlight.
Okay.
Later in the evening, try not to have high carb meals, like making sure you're having healthy fats and healthy proteins with all your meals, because that will help regulate your blood sugar levels. And when our blood sugars spike, that actually could it impacts our hormones, but also impacts our sleep.
Okay, I'll be mindful of that. Because I do eat right before, because that's like the only time I can get it in. eat real quick and go to sleep and then wake up to go to work. It is a lot, but hopefully once this podcast start to go, I can drop that for that night job. But wow, I didn't know that. That makes so much sense. I didn't know all this had to do with like our hormones.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just like how much little things could impact how we're feeling and our energy, and just even like that stubborn weight, say, that we're trying to lose. A lot of it is like connected to our hormone health. And us women, we are a little more sensitive than men because we do have a cycle.
Yeah,
right? The way our hormones are fluctuating through our cycle every day does make us a little more sensitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they just think it's just the time when we bleed. It's like the whole month of the year, it's the whole cycle, like 365 days, right? Oh, it's always a cycle. We is not just when we bleed. It's like our hormones are always just like all over the place, but it's nothing that we can necessarily. I mean, well, can we control them? Is there a way? Like, I guess with birth control, huh? I guess we asked. Is there a way to control them?
I feel that birth control could imbalance, but you are the professional, so you let me.
What are my thoughts on the birth control?
Like, is it a way to really balance the hormones? She said maybe birth control.
That question. So birth control. So first, before I get into it, I want to say I'm pro-choice, right? Okay. So whatever women are comfortable with, I think I support your decision, but I feel like women need to be properly educated on birth control. And you know what? I was on birth control for 13 years. I was on birth control at 15 until, I think like about 26 or something, for hormonal acne. And if I knew what I know now, then there's no way in hell I would go on birth control. So birth control, yes, I know it helps with, say, cramps, acne, headaches, regulating your period. But my question is it really fixing the problem? Or is it masking
the issue?
What the root issue is, right?
Yeah.
So what I say, and now, kind of what I practice with my clients is like, why is this symptom coming up? What do we need to look at? Why is this hormone imbalance happening? And with some of it too, there is like that emotional component to it, right? So like, how do you get to heal from that emotional component? So that's my take on birth control. And there are a few other things like that the doctors don't talk about, how birth control could actually impact us. It impacts our gut health. So they say 25% of women that are on birth control also end up on antidepressants and or anti-anxiety pills.
Yep.
Wow.
And and so think, if it's impacting our gut health, and 95% of our serotonin, that feel-good hormone, is produced in our stomach, and our gut health's impacted, so then we're not absorbing nutrients properly and we're having imbalances, then it impacts also our mood and our mental health. And then the other thing too is how I talked about at the beginning when we first jumped on here, how our hormones fluctuate throughout our cycle, the estrogen, and testosterone going up, and then it drops, and progesterone's low, and then it goes up. When you're on birth control, this is how I kind of explain it. A heart rate monitor, how it goes like this. Well, when you're on birth control, it's like this. Ding! It's like you're flatlined.
Yeah.
So,
really?
Yeah. Oh, so wow. even that increase in like that confidence and like the different energies I spoke about, you may not experience all that because you're not going through a full cycle. Women say, all of a sudden my sex drive is gone. Well, because your testosterone is decreased. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden you're not going to have much of a sex drive. It can even, and I've worked with women like this, to the point they were about to break up with their boyfriends even.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm not even attracted to them.
Yep.
It just
from the birth control?
Yes.
Yes.
I worked at an OBGYN office for 4.5 years, so she is absolutely correct. All of like women used to come in there with all of these different complaints all the time.
I feel like I had the 10 years. So it was inserted for 10 years like that.
That's no hormone.
Yeah.
She had the Paragard.
And it actually gave me a worse and longer period. And I also always got complaints during sex that it was something poking in.
That was probably a string word, like wrong.
Right. Yeah. But the first time they inserted it wrong. So right there, that should have been my sign that, this is probably what you should not be getting. But I still got it because it was 10 years, no hormones. And I thought that I was, doing something for myself. But after my second child, I'm literally birth control. I just don't think of it as an option. You know what I'm saying? Because it changed you so much, like you said, it changed you so much. I didn't like the longer, heavier periods, worse cramps, the mood. I was definitely not in the mood. Like it just, even for us, I have hormones, it still changes a lot. So I've tried the pills, which gave me horrible acne, and I've already got questionable skin. So it's one minute it works, and one minute it don't. 1 minute is good, 1 minute is bad. So just all of the extra hormones, stuff like that, I'm not.
Whereas I've never been on birth control. I just was like, no, thank you. Like, I'll just protect myself. If you don't want to have kids, we're just gonna use protection. That was just always my mantra. But because I was already like, I'm crazy enough. I don't need nothing to like alter that, like, because I might be, like even worse on some birth control. But then because of like the symptoms that I was having with the moodiness and like the raging, I was like, maybe I should think about it. Because there's too many side effects, and I'd just rather deal with what I got already.
Yes. Yes. I mean, people's sizes.
Right.
We had friends that was as small as me and blew up almost like Rasputin. Oh no, no, and that's just a little exaggerated, but literally a little, because literally the devil shot did that to a lot of friends.
Did you call it the devil shot?
Yeah, that Defo.
Oh, Defo. I might call it the devil shot.
Never, maybe 1 out of 100 people have said that it worked for them.
Yeah.
I never heard too many people that it really worked good for it.
So you also said that you help like with sexual connectivity. What does that kind of entail?
So it's really connecting to the womb. Like our womb space is, if you go into the energetics, is our second chakra, which is our creative center. It's our sexual energy. It's also where we hold our emotional energy. So just really connecting to that, and with that becomes empowerment. And so you'd be very surprised, like a lot of women do not have orgasms with sex, with their partners. And some women, and I feel like it could be like a cultural thing, aren't even comfortable pleasing themselves. And so what I always say is, I'm like, if you can't please yourself and you're not comfortable doing it, how do you expect someone else to please you? So I actually take some of my clients, it's like one of the things I get them to do. I'm not like with them while they do it, but I like give them their assignment, and I get the reflection and we discuss it later, but is an actual pleasure practice. And it's not just going into like a full like masturbation or anything, but literally just like starting from your fingertips and like touching your arm and touching your leg and like your neck and your chest, and just like really finding out what pressure of touch you like, maybe what type of if there's a certain material that you like, and just really discovering what feels good to you. And I always say, like, taking outside of a sexual context, but if you go for a massage and you have that masseuse that is like giving you like a little pat and it's like doesn't even feel like anything and you're annoyed because you're paying $100 and you want a deep tissue massage, right? So it's like really getting like connected to your body and like what feels good for you. So, and then yes, taking it to that sexual level. So really connecting with your sexual energy and just being empowered by it and being open to receiving. I feel like in our society, a lot of it is like women are givers. We're the caretakers. And then when it comes to the bedroom, women still are like it's hard for them just to lay back and surrender and receive, but really like own that shit. Us women, I mean, it's our birthright to experience pleasure. So yes, tell them what you want and be open to fully receiving it. So just helping women connect with that. And then there is a lot of connection with hormones as well. Like, you know, that I already touched on, you know, like why your sex drive may be lower, you know, directly through hormonal stuff. So just really looking at all the areas around that.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know. We were just talking. We did a podcast and we were you know, lucky enough to have the kids on. So her teenager and our nieces and nephews between like 12 and 16. So we were just telling them how like it's normal to, you know, if you want to touch yourself, to do that. You know, like I don't ever want people to think that it's like something that they should run away from or be ashamed of, or like, cause I mean, I don't know. I was telling them I've been doing this since I was a little kid. Like I was introduced to sex, unfortunately, at a young age because I was molested. But like, unfortunately, it did teach me kind of like how to be able to please myself. Unfortunately, I hate these. But like it did, like it made me. It was like I was like, ooh, like that was, you know, like this feels great. So like I always wanted to feel that way. Yeah. So like it started, you know, I started at a young age, which I think kind of made me kind of get to know myself a little bit better and like made me like love myself a little bit more. Like, you know,
of course.
Yeah, doing it. But I can remember as like young as like 10 or 11 even doing it. But it's like,
it's natural.
When I would tell my friends, they'd be like, you know, like, so I was like, I would just keep it to myself, you know, like, be my own.
I have to say, like, I love that you had like your kids or your nieces, nephews, like in that conversation. I think more of those conversations get to be had. And from both perspectives, there'd be less of our teenagers and kids like learning from porn, which is not showing what sex is supposed to be like. Being jackhammered is not bring pleasure to a female, and that's what they're seeing on porno, right? And I also think it would drop sexual assault cases.
Yes,
and also child pornography. Like, let's just have a conversation around this and like it be normal. And yes, for a female, like it's empowering. And even from what I was saying at the beginning, like orgasms are very healing. It could actually like help you during your bleed, and you don't need to have a partner. Yeah, you could just like please yourself, and you may actually feel like some of the menstrual cramps or the headaches going away.
Yeah, right.
It does. That's pretty good.
I just plug it up and just go.
Yeah, that's it. I'm telling you. It's right. It's wrong with that.
I felt like I couldn't really, like, you know, because I don't know why it's so taboo, but because men, I feel like they're expected to do it at like 13, but you know, when they're going through puberty, everybody talks about boys trying to like start, you know, like touching themselves. It's normal, but they never talk about women, and like we can masturbate too. Like we can please ourselves too. It should not be this like taboo thing. Like I never heard about it. Nobody ever talked about it. It was, so I just always thought it was like this little thing. But I was always an advocate. But I always used to always tell them like, y'all need to do it. It is so much fun.
And I never got nothing on that. I I just started doing self pleasure with boys. But I feel like it took a bad relationship for me to really have to say, okay, well, if you don't want a relationship right away, it's gonna come times where you have to pleasure yourself, you know. And that's what made me open up to self pleasure. I still haven't done it just with my hands in it, but I do have fun with it. I love it.
Yeah, it's all different for
I
me.
mean,
I don't like toys. I feel like it's a little bit too much stimulation.
It can be.
So I just rather use my
You gotta know the vibration, which level. You know, it's coming different speeds. Just various speeds.
But like, and it goes back to just like getting to it connected to your body and what feels good for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. So do you work with couples or is it just?
I don't work with couples.
Okay.
I have not. I just work with females. I've had, like I said, I've had a lot of conversations with men, especially like on podcasts, but I've not had any male clients, and I haven't worked with couples.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering, like, not to be, but like the lesbian couples, that would probably be interesting though, because they both have their own separate cycles, and working through that would probably be like kind of cool. I know, right? I didn't think of something like that, but that would probably be something that they can probably learn from.
I've dated women, so it's definitely a class, and that's why I feel that I can't be with a woman because she's just like me. We have those changes and all of those different little things that goes on with our bodies, and sometimes, of course, it's not on the same timing. So one minute she's this way and I'm this way, and we hate each other. It's just like I'd rather be your friend.
But I think once what I was talking about earlier, and you start to connect and understand why you are the certain way at during the certain time of month, and if you have a female partner and she connects with hers, I think there's going to be more understanding with like a female couple than still, because a man's never going to fully understand.
Never.
They can listen and learn and sympathize, but they're never fully going to understand. But if you have a female partner, she's going to understand.
Exactly. Men think that when you are going through your cycle, it's just please them time. And it's like, that is like downtime. Like you just said, it is downtime. Like, especially at those beginning days. Can I get a day or two? Maybe even 3. And literally it's sometimes where you're just not in the mood where you might want to just bite it off. Okay, like, you sure? This what you want me to do right now? That's what I'm thinking. It's just like they never give you a break. Oh my God. That's what
well, that's again, you got to know your partner. You got to know your partner. But
that's a single woman problem.
Problem, yeah.
I don't think the men really understand it to a lot of the single needs, because they think it's just for the moment, or unless you still mess with somebody consistently. But sometimes they're selfish. They're still about themselves.
Well, hopefully they have heard this podcast.
Yes, and
hopefully, yes.
Ladies, it's necessary.
Ladies, share it with all your men so they learn something here today.
Yes, we all want to sit back there listening now.
Yeah. We're gonna make a public service announcement. Okay, go check out this episode. Okay. Just so you know.
I know that's right, but that is so awesome. Okay, so like getting to know ourselves. So do you like? Of course, you recommend we just said self pleasure. Anything else like to help?
Before we even get to that, right? It's just treating yourself like the queen that you are. Right. So some of the training also that I've done is Tantra. I've worked with a Tantra coach who's actually like one of my really good friends, and she's freaking amazing. But it's like just doing self-love practices, taking yourself out on a date, and take yourself somewhere bougie. If that's where you want your man to take you, take yourself out there. And just sitting up at the bar, I do this quite often. Just sitting up at the bar by yourself, you'd be amazed. Like, men will come up to you, even females will come. Like, people just pick up that confident energy. Go buy yourself flowers or something that that brings pleasure to your life, right? You don't have to wait for a man to do it. So really just treating yourself like I said, like the queen that you are. And honoring that you want time by yourself, like during certain times of the month. So if it is to go for a massage or take that Epsom salt bath, or, you know, whatever it may be, like each of us women are different, but just really doing that. And another thing I do quite often, in the morning, I write them out more, but I do like morning affirmations. And for some women, I get them to say it in the mirror and do mirror work. Like, I'm a queen, I'm a badass, I'm powerful, I'm love, I'm worthy, like whatever is gonna fill your cup and like really boost your ego. Yes.
Yeah.
Give that ego. So just some of these practices, and you'll just notice your confidence is going to come up. You're going to feel more comfortable expressing what your desires are, in the bedroom, outside of the bedroom, just day to day. And then actually another thing is just, and I know I said this before, is like connecting with your womb. And some women are like, what do you mean connecting? Like, take 2 to 5 minutes in the morning, put your hands on your womb, put your hands on your pussy, and just hold your hands there and breathe into it. And just ask, what do I need today? Just breathing and connecting. And you may get like a feeling in your body, you may get a download, and it could be something as simple as I need to catch up with this girlfriend today. And you're going to pick up, and call her. I always say get to, because the I get to is in the feminine energy, and you have a choice. You're in flow. Yeah. I have to is masculine energy, and that's like your do, right? So I get to, like, and it could be like, I get to feed my body with some nourishing foods, so just whatever's coming up, or I get to express myself this way to this person. So just really connecting with yourself every morning. And that's one of the questions that is in the journal, the book that I created. The book, it's called The Womb Wisdom Journal. It's on Amazon, and it's about 5 pages of reading only. And the first 5 pages go into a little more detail of the different energies that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast with our cycle. And then the end of the book journal is 3 months. And for you to track your cycle for 3 months. And every day there's like an empowerment quote. All the quotes are by famous women, and the quotes are positioned to be in where the energy is in your cycle. And there's different reflection questions every single day. Same questions actually every day, just so you could get really in tune and really connected to your cycle. But then as you hit the different phases, there's also extra reflection questions. And I know, for example, like one of them is for your follicular phase. It's like, what are my 3 goals for myself this month? So this comes back to how I was saying, like, I help women connect with their bodies and hormone health so they can be badasses in all areas of their life. In order to do this, you get to really understand what is important in my life right now. And I'll use myself as an example. So why I became so passionate about this work is because I had lost my period for 7 months while I competed for my first bikini competition in 2017. And of course, all the doctor wanted to do is give me hormone pills. I ended up healing myself, doing the work that I do now with other women. And I wanted to compete again, but I didn't want to lose my period again. Even though I wasn't trying to get pregnant, I just know it's unhealthy. So in order to compete again and not lose my period, I had to pull away from other areas of my life. I stopped teaching yoga. I went for massages every Friday. That was my routine. I would go train, and then I'd go for a massage. And I was able to compete again for 4 more shows. So that's why every month it's like, okay, what are my goals for this month? Where do I put a little more energy in? What containers do I put a little more energy in? And then where do I have to back off a little bit? And this is just like our cycle changes day to day. Our lives are in flow. So the next month it might be a little bit different, and you get to reflect on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you ever know what it was? What it was that caused your cycle to go? I'm sorry, my allergies are like horrible.
Sorry, I missed the question.
Do you know what was it that stopped your cycle in the first place?
Oh, what stopped it? So for me, I know it was stress.
Oh, okay.
I just had too much on my plate. I was prepping for a show, which is 25 to 30 hours a week. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I was working full time as an occupational therapist. that's doing rehab. Like we work very closely with physical therapists. So I was working in the hospital. I was studying yoga therapy. I was teaching yoga, and I was doing contract work as a yoga or as an occupational therapist. So it's just so much on my plate. And I actually stopped getting my period 2 months before my show. So I was still eating about 1,600 calories a day. But what I say the icing on the cake was then as you get onto stage in like the bodybuilding world, you are cutting your calories. I had like no fats, which fats, ladies, are your friend. We need fats. We need we need at least 50 grams of fat a day. I'm small. I'm only 5 feet, and I make sure I get 50 grams of fat. Anywhere to 50 to 75, depending on like how tall of a woman you are. So yeah, my diet was very low, and exercising. It was too much exercise. Yeah. So that's where I had to like make these shifts and changes. Okay. And I feel like stress is a huge thing for women with hormonal imbalances. It's something that I feel like often gets underlooked. And then, yeah, just not eating enough in cases, especially if you have missing periods. And then with the exercise component, I know I was talking about earlier, but I always say right size your exercise. If you are missing periods, a lot of times it is cutting out exercise. And I know some people disagree with me, but there is something called the all-in theory, which means you cut out all exercise as you're recovering. If from amenorrhea, that's a loss of your period of 3 or more months. I disagree with that because I know at the time when I was healing, if I cut out all exercise, that would cause stress in my life. Yeah. Because exercise for me is a way is very big for my emotional health. Mm-hmm. So I got to look at my relationship with exercise, cut back on it, and just, I wasn't doing as much cardio. I was still like doing a little bit of movement just to satisfy me, but I didn't cut it all out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That was good that you helped yourself. Because you're right, though, because that's all they do is just try to give you a pill to try to fix it.
Yeah, that's all she had to offer. She's like, take pills. And I'm like, yep. No.
Thank you.
And I will say, like, it was pretty bad. They even did an ultrasound on me, and my vaginal, when they did the ultrasound, it was showing up that it was like premenopause.
Oh, wow.
The vaginal thinning, was like premenopausal. That's how low my estrogen levels were.
Oh,
and this was at 32 years old. Yeah, I was 32 at the time.
Probably terrible.
Yeah. So and this is I'm going to talk a little bit more into this like on my social media on Instagram, but it's like, yes, I wasn't trying to have kids, but our periods are just they say it's like a 5th vital sign, right? So it's so important for our bone health, our heart health, actually. And there's more and more research coming in that even connected with dementia.
Oh, wow.
Later in life. So if you have lower estrogen levels and missing periods for like longer, in your younger years, it can actually creep up on you later in life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. I've never had a break. Ever. I've never had any kids, so I've had a period every single month since I was 13. And I'm like, please, can I get a break?
Learn. And I know a lot of women hate it. And after I lost it for 7 months, I celebrate it every month. Like, I actually get excited when I get it. Yeah. And it's like when you learn the power that is connected with it, you'll learn to celebrate it too. And that's why I do the work that I do so that women can build this relationship with their period. And I know even society, there's hide your tampons, don't even today actually I was talking about some of what I do at brunch, and I just said the word. I was like, yeah, when we're on our bleed, and they made a comment. They're like, wow, you're just so upfront. I'm like, well, that's what it is. I'm like,
it's everybody knows it happens, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Exactly. and they're I'm hoping that your listeners are catching on with this, but there's just there's so much power behind it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as you learn to love it, and for the women that are listening and that you have, severe cramps or moodiness or, your hair's falling out, whatever it may be with like a hormonal imbalance, weight gain, I can't stress this enough. There are natural ways to address this. And I hope you picked a few things up throughout this. But, as you heal from that and just really connect and love your body and your womb, there is like a beautiful relationship that you get to gain with your cycle.
No, that's absolutely true. I was in a relationship for 3 years. It was horrible, and I lost so much weight. Like it was unbelievable. But of course, it was stress. But a lot of people in our community thought it was drugs, and it was literally just stress. You're trying to figure things out. I was thinking about making sure I didn't lose my job for missing work. I was making sure that I, still was going to work. I had to argue. It's just like my home was like a battlefield, and it was like I didn't know how to completely get out the relationship. I was trying to figure that out at the same time. It was a lot of stress. It was just like it was so many things going through my mind. I was like, how am I going to do this? How is this going to work? And I prayed a lot, so I was asking God to please let me out of it peacefully because sometimes it don't always end that way. But it was something that I needed to get out of. I lost so much weight, but I literally, Kim, as soon as I got out of that relationship, I worked out regularly. Like you couldn't even stop me, but I felt I was doing it to the point where I felt like I was going to tear a ligament, like to the point where somebody was like, you need to stop. I wasn't giving myself a break. I mean, I felt like it was giving me so much energy and so much confidence and then it was just trying to work it out first off at that low weight that I was at and trying to get my eating back up and those fat, but trying to get everything back in me that I had been missing. And it was just so crazy. I feel like I've gotten to a point where got to a point where I'm confident and I feel better about myself, but I stopped the working out. I want to get back into working out, but sometimes it's like, if you haven't worked out in a while, you work out, you go feel it the next day and the next day and the next, and that is what
exactly
my mind
why I don't do it.
It's just like, it makes it so much harder to go to it, and then it's like I kind of my weight has been leveled, like I haven't been losing any. I might gain it, but sometimes I might cut back on the bread, the starch, different things like that. But I definitely feel like exercise, dude, it changes you. It makes it completely different in your life that you would have seen before. And I don't know, I feel like it really do give you that extra boost of energy and confidence that you need. But I really got to get back into the habit of, I know it's gonna be painful, but it's something that gotta be done.
Baby steps. Just ease into it, and then the transition won't be as bad.
Do you do yoga classes online?
I don't.
Okay.
I was doing it for some time, but I don't. I'm going to be launching it. So I'm doing it's called the Double Dose Detox. I'm going to be running that May 16th to the 20th. It's going to be a 5-day challenge. And I'm going to talk about there's going to be recipes for every day. It's going to be like a 5-day food plan to help detox. And you're not going to be starving. It's not going to be no juice cleanse. It's going to be actually like nourishing and refueling your body with good nutrients and minerals that we need for hormone health. With that, every day there's going to be a detox lifestyle tip. So think of like looking at your makeup and seeing what's in your makeup, and looking at your household cleaners and those kind of things. And then after that, in June, I am going to be launching Do It On Your Own course. And I'm sharing this because I am going to incorporate some workouts, and there will be, and once you purchase it, it's yours to keep, and you can do the workouts and the yoga classes as much as you want. So I will have workouts and yoga classes to go with where you are in your cycle.
Okay. Well, let the people know how to reach you and your Instagrams and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram. My Instagram's just my name, Kim Billick, BILYK _. I know we connected on Facebook. I don't use Facebook a ton, but you can find me on there. And then my website is amala-living.com. So that's the main places. And actually, one other thing I will say that I'm more recently on, there is an app, and it's called Peanut. And it is an app it is for women to connect, but a lot is women trying to conceive, mothers, and with newborns, and also just mothers with teenage kids. And it's just for women it's almost like a Tinder for women, if you want to say. And on that, I do have a group, and I share all information like on stuff that we talked today, and I do live pods, and so you could do some spot coaching and just like listen in to learn some information. So I'm just sharing that because if there are any listeners here that just want to connect with other women, and then there's a whole bunch of different topics on there too. So that's another place where you could find me on Peanut app.
So you'll have to send me the link, and then also the link to your journal, and then we'll put it all in the bio.
Sure. Yes. Okay? Yeah, I'll get that all sent to you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We had such a good time with you. We learned so much.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great.
More things that we probably could have asked, but we'll just get you in another episode. We'll do a part 2.
We'll do part 2. We'll do part 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely let you know how that journal will work.
Yes.
Start the everyday this, the everyday womb. I got a 14-year-old and a 2-year-old. Like, I gotta have those me time moments. But
it's important.
I want to do them.
It's important. When I see moms out, I think it was like last Friday, I was out, and there was a mom with her sister. And this woman said she had 5 children, and the husband just came in from a work trip, and she's like, "You get the kids now. I'm going out." And I I celebrated her for that. I'm like, "Good job! Like you deserve that." And I'm gonna say this, ladies, you're not selfish for doing that.
No,
I'm not gonna say one more time. You are not selfish for doing that, because if you don't give yourself that time, you are gonna reach burnout. Give yourself that time by yourself, with your best friend, with your sister, whoever it needs to be. And I can almost guarantee you're going to come back to your children feeling more present, and you're going to give them more than if you didn't take that time for yourself.
You're right. You are
totally agree. So we are queens.
Right? You are a queen too.
Yes. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're
welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you. Bye, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank you.